Hello and welcome to the Black Ponder. I'm Neil Trotter, and today we're going to celebrate. We're going to have some acknowledgement, some reflection, because it's year number 3 here at the Black Ponder. That's how long we've been doing this channel, or I've been doing this channel. Well, actually it's year number 3 in about a month, because I started the channel very early January, I believe. But you know, better late than never, right? So I've been doing the channel, but also it is true that I should use the word we, because you know, we gotta give acknowledgement to all the subscribers out there and all the commenters and the likes and the dislikes and all that. You know, it's very interactive, and that's what makes it even more fun. To that end, we always do the giveaways. We do the giveaways to the subscribers of the Black Ponder. Now this year's giveaway is going to be a little different. It might be a little less popular, but we're going to do it anyway because, you know, I think it's important and it's a cool group of objects to have. What I have here is a collection of zines. That's right, we got some zines in the house. What is a zine? In case you don't know, a zine is an independently made magazine, essentially. It's a do-it-yourself, DIY, little magazine. It's a booklet made by a small amount of people. Handmade. Sometimes they use copy machines for it. Sometimes, you know, they use their printer at home. It's made with collages, artwork, all types of things. It's very arts and crafts like. It's a little booklet made like a magazine, essentially. And there's a whole culture, a whole community surrounding the zine, right? And there's zines about a lot of different things. There's zines about comic books, there's zines about TV shows, there's zines about art, there's zines about certain genres like science fiction, all different types of categories and genres of zines. But these zines right here specifically, that I've given away to one subscriber. What are these zines? Right? Fem. They're feminism zines. That's what they are. I'm giving away zines about feminism. Why am I doing that? Why am I giving away feminist zines? Why do I think it's useful for anybody to read such literature? Well, let me answer that question by answering another question. And this is a frequently asked question that we get here at the Black Ponder, right? We get, I've had messages, comments, tweets, you know, all that stuff, all that social media contact methods. This question has been asked on a number of different occasions. And the question is, Neil, why do you call yourself the Black Ponder? Why do you have to put the word black in there? Why do you have to involve race in the situation? Why can't you just call yourself the Ponder, right? Why can't you just leave the whole notion of race out of it? Race doesn't really mean anything. You're spoiling the whole concept of the philosophy behind your channel, and it's, you know, you should just call yourself the Ponder or something else. Why you gotta say the Black Ponder? Let me answer that question for you. Let me give you an answer. And by doing that, hopefully we'll also answer the purpose behind the giveaway. Well, at first, when I first started the channel, it was really a joke. Really, that's what it was. Black Ponder was just a title that just made me chuckle. Because at first, when I first started the channel, and that's still pretty true to this day, it was for me. It was just my personal little hobby. You know, it's like people who build ships in little miniature ships in a bottle, or people who have stamp collections, or people who collect playing cards. It was just a little personal thing that I was doing just as a hobby because I wanted to delve into philosophy more. And I talked about this in a previous giveaway video. It was a channel that I wanted to have exist, somebody that just talked about philosophy books, and I couldn't find it. You know, I found philosophy channels, but I didn't specifically find this flavor. And so I made it just for myself, right? And I'm a guy that likes to laugh. You know, I laugh at anything, right? So I hear Black Ponder, it just chuckles. It just gives me the chuckles, right? You know, I tell people that I know personally in real life, in passing, I'm like, yeah, you know, I have a YouTube channel, and they're like, oh, what's it called? And I could tell them, oh, it's a Black Ponder, and then they just kind of giggle because this is, you know, it's funny. That's how it is at first. But then people, you know, on YouTube started interacting with me and bringing up the issue of the title, and they brought up the point like, well, you're taking away the seriousness out of the topic. You're delegitimizing what you're doing by making it kind of, you know, using that silliness angle. So I thought about it for a while. I really thought about it, and I put aside the chuckles for a minute. I just put it aside. I thought about, okay, is it really constructive to use that title, the Black Ponder? And putting aside the chuckles, I still think, yeah, it's very constructive to call myself the Black Ponder, and I will not change the name. Chuckles aside, that name is a very constructive name. It serves the purpose of what I'm doing on this channel very well. Some of those comments that I got was the idea that racism isn't a real thing. It's not based on actual reality, right? It's a fictitious construct. But so why are you calling yourself that? You know, you're just supporting the construct, the fiction, the falsehood. I actually said this myself in my discussion about Immanuel Kant's Critique of Pure Reason. I used that whole notion of racism being a fictitious construct created by society that doesn't really have any true essence to it. And that's true. You know, that is true. I'm not saying you're wrong. I agree with you there. Race is not based off of truth. It's a made-up construct. That's true. However, just because it's a made-up construct does not mean that it's not a reality, that there is no effect to it, that there is no influence. What do I mean? Well, to be honest with you, being an African American has influenced the way I am. Being black has sculpted how I am in the world. It's shaped my personality, my attitude toward things, my perspective. It has greatly influenced me. And any African American can attest that to you. I mean, that's something that goes without saying, kind of. Funny enough, there have been at least one commenter who questioned me about the Black Ponder, and they were African American, and I'm just like, really, bro? It's like, really, bro? Come on now. You're in denial or something? Now, I'm not trying to dismiss the bruh's point of view, not trying to do that. But honestly, it doesn't matter how much philosophical insight or spiritual enlightenment or scientific know-how or whatever, existentialist transcendence that you can achieve or acquire, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, race, at least in America, affects a person, and you can't escape that. You really can't escape that. It's going to shape your reality. It's going to shape your point of view. It's going to shape what you can and cannot do. It might not limit what you can and cannot do, but there's going to be some boundaries, some roadblocks, some hurdles. Access is going to be limited or opened up even based off of race. Basically, I'm saying race is a false construct that has created a reality that causes actual influence. It does. So you can't make the statement completely and say race is this false or made up construct, and therefore it's a waste of time to even bring it up or talk about it or talk about the subject in a legitimate way. That's not something you should do. You can't make that type of statement because race is a huge impactor toward the way people live. And it is not the case that people buy into this false idea or that people are weak and they're weak-minded. It's a lack of understanding, or you're allowing yourself to fall victim. You're playing the victim, right? That's not the case. You know, you could have as much philosophical insight. You could be as incredibly intelligent. You could be a highly spiritual person, and that's beside the point. Race is going to affect you in very profound ways. In America, that is definitely the case. From what I'm getting from the commenters is that in other countries, race is not so much of a thing, right? And that might very well be the case. I'm not sure. Certain European countries or what have you, it might be difficult for you to understand that because you've never experienced it on that level. But here in America, it is definitely true. Now, I could give you all types of personal examples of why that is the case and how race has affected me independent of my intellectual ability or spirituality or all those various different aspects. I could sit here and make a whole hour-long video about that. But there's so much useful literature out there that's already been written that describes to you, that explains and breaks down the reasons why race affects people in a profound ways, despite the fact that it is a false construct. And these books have done a much better job at doing that, explaining that, than I can do in a video. So what we're going to do on the Black Ponder is that we are going to take a look at some of these books, contemporary books that really examine race, so that we can have a better understanding of the impact of race and why it is an actual thing, a real thing, despite its falsehood, and talk about it in a legitimate way and find solutions, find ways that we can overcome and solve the problem of race. Because it is a problem, but we have to acknowledge that it is a problem. We can't just dismiss the problem because then it won't go away, right? Those are for future videos. We're going to be doing that. Because you know I do contemporary videos, current affairs videos at the Black Ponder too. That's true. We still do our classics, but also a part of the Black Ponder is how we can use philosophy today to make the world a better place, right? We can use philosophy as a tool to improve our society. Very important, very important. I feel that's very important. Huge theme in this channel, the Black Ponder. So how does that tie into the giveaway that I'm doing? Well, just like how people dismiss race and say that it's not an actual thing, people also dismiss gender. And in turn, people dismiss feminism. At the end of the day, what feminism is it's doing exactly what I said. It's trying to explain to you that there are these fictitious constructs that have been created in society that block human progress. Humanity can't progress because of these fictitious constructs that have been made based off of gender. You know, that's what feminism ultimately is about. Now the problem is that we are limited from our experiences, our personal experiences, and we have to consider the experiences of other people. Just like that commenter who says, oh, race isn't really a thing, it's just a made-up construct, has never really dealt with the reality of racism and the limitations and the boundaries that racism has put in place. You know, they're looking at it on an intellectual level, a mental level. There has been they're not basing that conclusion off of any experience, actual experience. And what these zines do, right? What they do is it's all about experience. What are these zines? They're just people that have had various experiences based off of their gender. And they talk about how these experiences have limited their ability to contribute positively, effectively toward society. Okay? That's what these are about. They're experience-based. Okay? It's very important to understand. Empathy is only possible if we are able to listen. We can't be so dismissive. There are certain experiences that certain people are unable to go through. Okay, as an African American male, okay, I'm unable to experience what it's like as an Asian woman immigrant, for instance. I have no idea what that's like. Now, what I can do is I can listen to the experiences of that Asian woman immigrant or whoever that I'm unable to actually experience. I can listen to this person, right, and on a human level relate to what that person is saying, and on a human level empathize with that person. But at the same time, I'm never going to really truly understand the experience of that individual because I haven't been through that before. And we have to acknowledge that. Okay, we need to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge that we are limited to what we can understand based off our experience. So the best thing to do to break through that limitation is to drop the ego, right? It's not all about yourself, and to listen and acknowledge another person's experience, another person's hardship, another person's point of view. Listen to what that person is telling you, and then incorporate that into your own reason and logic and intellectual ability, and also your own personal experience. And after you do that, then you're better at making an informed conclusion, an informed decision. But what happens is that we don't even acknowledge other people's experiences. We dismiss other people's experience. We don't even give them the time of day, right? The only thing that we do is we think about, okay, what have I experienced? And then we apply our intellectual and mental capacity of, well, based off of what I experienced, I think this person is this, this, and this, and therefore this is the case, right? Where you haven't even actually sat down and listened to the experience of that other individual that's going through the issue that they're trying to raise or bring to your attention. This is very important because this is where a lot of problems arise. This is where a lot of issues and conflicts are developed, right? Because we limit ourselves to our own experiences. We don't listen to the other person's experience. We don't really truly listen to the other person's experience. We think we can rationalize and intellectualize everything based off of our own experiences, based off of this false notion that all human experience is universal on all levels. And it's not. It is not universal on all levels. Different human beings experience reality on different levels. Okay? There are hardships that certain people go through that other people will never go through, right? But that doesn't mean those hardships that you will never experience matter any less than the hardships that you have to go through. And this is the whole notion, the whole argument, the whole idea of humanism versus feminism, right? There's some people who believe like, well, you don't need feminism because we have humanism. We have this idea that all humans deserve to contribute to society. We don't need this specialist point of view. But you do, because like I said, not all human beings are able to understand the specific struggles of everybody, okay? And that needs to be acknowledged. That needs to be acknowledged. You have to kind of humble yourself. You have to drop that ego and understand that, okay, this person is going through something that I had no idea about. Okay, so I need to take a step back and listen to this person. And then after that, take what they're saying into consideration. Really do. Don't just dismiss it immediately. Really listen to this person. And then afterwards, come up with some sort of constructive solution or conclusion. So that's why I'm keeping my YouTube name as the Black Ponder, right? Not only does it give me the chuckles, but also it defines what this channel is about, the theme of this channel. What are the issues affecting the forward progress of humanity? We gotta look at that on a philosophical level. What is the truth behind the philosophy of that answer? Okay, we have to understand human experience is not universal. Okay, that doesn't mean that's not a bad thing. That means that's a good thing. That means that the experience of human beings are diverse and different, and that's a beautiful thing. It makes humanity very interesting. But it also, as an individual, is also very humbling, right? You have to understand that your experience, your logic, your reason is not the only thing that there is. Okay, you can't effectively make decisions and conclusions about everything based off of your own experiences. You have to include the experiences of others. You have to listen to other people's points of views to be able to effectively make progress, to have everybody be able to contribute positively to society. That's what the Black Ponder is about. So, do you want these zines? All right, they're gonna be from one subscriber. I suspect it's not gonna be as popular as the other ones. It doesn't matter because we're gonna keep rolling, and I'm gonna talk about how I feel, and I'm going to continue to talk about what I think is important and why I think philosophy is such a critical tool that we need to implement that's highly underutilized. And I do believe feminism is onto something very useful, very constructive, very philosophical. I do believe that. If you want the zines, if you want to listen to somebody else's perspective, all you gotta do is be a subscriber of the Black Ponder as of the published date of this video. That's it. You can't just subscribe after the video is uploaded and be included, because this is a thank you to the subscribers of the past. We don't try to inflate numbers with giveaways here at the Black Ponder. You know, I already said before, I'm not doing this for high numbers of subscribers and viewership. That's not the point. But at the same time, I do appreciate the participation and the interaction and the questions. So the people that have commented and questioned why I call myself the Black Ponder, thank you very much. You know, it's great interaction. We can talk about it, and we can continue to talk about it via the comments. So also in the comments, you can let me know if you're interested in giveaway, and I'll include you. I'll check and see if you're a subscriber, and if I can confirm that, then yeah, you're in the running. Or you can message me. You know, you can do a PM private message if you don't want it to be exposed. That's fine too. And this is also an international giveaway. This is open to the world, right? The giveaway will be open for about a week, and then we'll close it up with the next video that I do. Okay? So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the participation. Thanks for the viewership. 3 years and some change that the Black Ponder has been around. Here's to 3 more years and even more at the Black Ponder. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time for more philosophical thought.